What is up, YouTube fam? My name is Ricky. Today, we will be reacting to Halocene, the Mirror featuring Violet Orlandi. That will be the video we're reacting to today. Per usual, before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, and if there's anything you want me to react to in particular, does not have to be related to Halocene in any way, shape, or form. Just anything you feel like you want me to react to. Um, Please let me know in the comments section down below. I will try to get to them as fast as possible. So I am more than positive that a lot of you do not know who Halocene is. So if you don't know who Halocene is, I highly recommend you look them up. They are very they're more known for their covers. So they've done covers of rock songs, they've done covers of pop songs. So they kind of blew up on the scene doing a cover of Chop Suey with said Violet Orlandi as well as Lauren Babic. If you have not seen that cover or any of their covers really, I highly recommend you check them out. And they're going on tour. They just released European dates, East Coast dates. So if you guys are interested in that, I know the European dates are not yet. I don't think they're announced yet as of when this is released. I think they're releasing dates this week for the European tour. But it's their first time on tour since being Halocene. And so they're a completely independent band. They don't have any record label. They are 100% authentic. They do all of their their mixing, their mastering, all of their their vocal recordings and all that. Everything is self-made. So they're definitely a smaller band, and I will not be surprised if you have never heard of them. But they came out with just a new original song not too long ago, probably last week when this recording comes out. So I think it was last week. And I have yet to hear this, and I am very curious to see where they go. Let's get right into it. The Mirror, Halocene featuring, I said all of that in the wrong order. It's Halocene, The Mirror featuring Violet Orlandi. Here we go. Original song. Let's do it. It would help if I had the sound on the right source, because you guys are just listening to nothing, and I am also listening to nothing. Try that again. Hey, let's try it. That didn't happen. Mulligan. Yeah. Interesting effect. Their melodies together, or harmonies, I mean. Oh. Good pause. Okay, so there's a lot of little nuanced things that I'm noticing in this song that I don't usually notice in their other originals, or maybe I'm just not listening as in depth. But they're layering in terms of like instrumental layering. So the Halocene, the band, is only 3 members. It's the drummer, the guitarist, and Addie, who is, well, not this one. That's Violet. So that's the entirety of the band. So all Brad does the guitar, the bass, and he does the compositions for a lot of the backup instrumentals. So any synths that you may hear, any sound effects or whatever may be the case, that's usually Brad. And there's a lot of little nuanced things that I feel like I hear in this one more to give it a little bit more texture, um, to kind of fill in the space, because the beat itself is a relatively simple beat. It's a very laid back kind of halftime kind of feel. Um, but the choices that they made in terms of instrumentation was actually it was very well done, because there wasn't a whole lot going on. It it fills up the space, it uses the space, but also allows allows the what's the word I'm looking for? It gives the ladies kind of this open area to kind of roam, even though the space is already being used, if that makes sense. So like they're not taking the entirety of the spotlight. It's very much letting the vocalists, both Addie and Violet, kind of do their own thing, let the melodies dictate where the song is going, and kind of what's the word? Like support. You have the composition support what the melody is trying to do. Also, it's been said in all of their covers that they've done together, but their voices are so totally different, and yet when you put them together, it just doesn't make sense how well it goes together, because Addie's voice is way up in the atmosphere. She's got this very high piercing tone, like she's way up in the soprano. I don't know, Michael, I wasn't a choir. It's up there, like her range is up there. Violet's has a much deeper alto, I think it's alto sound, and yet you put them together and it's like they're one and the same person. It doesn't make any sense, but they blend together so well. Let's keep going. Yes. Unison lines. Love it. I like them sharing the spotlight. Yes. Good callback. Okay, so something that was very, again, going to the fact that their voices are very different and yet blend very well. At one point, they were in unison with each other. They were singing, like, usually they're doing octave differences. So Violet typically would take the lower octave if they're singing the same melody, and then Addie would take the higher one. But at the end of that last chorus, they were both singing the same notes, and it blended together so perfectly where you can hear both of them, but neither of them at the same time, if that makes sense, because they make such this beautiful blend of a different voice when you put them together, and yet individualistically you can definitely tell, like, oh, that's Violet's tone, or that's Addie's tone. Also in the background, kind of in the back left of the mastering, was Brad's screams, and it was very subtle, where it wasn't it didn't dictate like the style, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't want the screams to be the forefront, obviously, of that particular section, but he put it there to give it a little bit different color, as opposed to just having it sung differently. Also, Joe, the drummer, has very unique fills in this one that I don't normally hear from previous originals. And so, Joe, I see you, bud. I'm catching on to them. listen. Yes.
Hey everybody, we hope you liked our new original song that we wrote together called The Mirror.
And we did this all the way from the US to Brazil remotely, and it doesn't even look like it. And now we're finally together in person for the first time.
We're going on tour together just next week. And by the way,
Truth.
in case you haven't noticed, I've announced some East Coast dates that are going
Also, when this date comes out, actually the first part of the tour is tomorrow.
to be going on sale today. And stay tuned, Europe, because we're going to be doing some announcements next week for that.
Spoiled it, sorry.
We're doing some live streams together, so
Yes.
check out Twitch because we're going to be singing or hanging out. I don't know. Oh, there's a shirt if you want to buy a shirt and support us for The Mirror, and it's pretty cool, and it'll be on screen right now. Brad's going to put it on screen. Thanks, Brad. Let's go! Release the Batman!
I can't tell the
Okay, so let me get rid of this for a second. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, again, they're not that well known. So Violet is actually from Brazil. She's from South America. So when they do these collabs, they're doing them remotely. They're literally across the world, doing all of the like editing, both vocally and with video. And so this was the first time that they had met, and they had been doing why can't I words today or vocabulary? Hello? Words? Collabs. They've been collaborating for the better part of maybe 3 years? Two? At least 2. They've been doing it at least since 2020. And all of them remote. And if you saw that at the very end of the video there, that was Lauren Babick, who usually that's like the Trinity. They call them, they have their own little lore, if you will. And Lauren is from Canada. So the fact that they're able to do any of this production literally all around the world is absolutely insane. And the fact that they collaborate so often is, again, just it doesn't make any sense how good they sound and how they met up, or the whole story is just it's such a, if you guys like, you really need to look into it. Like, it's such a cool story of how they met and whatnot, and they're finally going on tour together, so that's very, very nice. So that last chorus was a big vibe change, which I was not anticipating. It had much more distorted guitar. At least the first chorus didn't have that much of it, but again, they wanted this big fat sound, and they probably had maybe 1 or 2 guitar layers there. But also what kind of made the sound as impactful was the amount of vocal layers that they had in there, because there was at least, oh man, maybe like 6 at one point, because at one point Brad was screaming and he probably had multiple layers of screams in there, or maybe it was just an effect. And then there were counter melodies kind of with each other between Violet and Addie. And they were both doing both parts. So there was kind of a lot going on. But if you kind of like strip it back a little bit and decipher like piece by piece, if you have the ears for that, all of it has kind of its place. So it gave it such gravitas. I don't know. That's like the best word I can give for that. Is it made the sound as impactful as they wanted it to. And it can kind of be a little overwhelming for someone who maybe hasn't heard them for the first time, because there's so many layers going on vocally, especially, and so you don't really know what to concentrate on. And I think that was kind of the point, because you've heard the chorus already the first 2 times, so you kind of have an idea of what it sounds like. So that's why you bring in counter melodies and other kind of riffs and little like runs to make the chorus not sound exactly the same. So it just gives it a little bit of texture, a little different taste, but you're still getting the same message across, just in a different light, if you will. So there you have it. That was Halocene, The Mirror, featuring Violet Orlandi. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe, and comment on anything you want me to react to into the future. Typically, we would stream on Twitch. It's usually Mondays and Wednesdays. Oh, I can't. I'm so sorry. I can't words today. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That would typically be the case, but that is currently on hiatus until I figure out my schedule, because my schedule has been wonky as of late. So if you're interested in that, it's just twitch.tv/rrb_Ricky. And until then, I'll see you guys for the next one. Take care.